Ready? 1, 2.
First and foremost, we're doing it for fun. And we're all at a stage in our piping careers where we've played for years, we've played with bands, we've done solo competitions, and you know, it was as simple as wanting to participate in the championship and be together and enjoy each other's company and see if we can make something really good. There's no other agenda than that. And you know, talk of winning the competition was very, very far removed from our minds at the outset. It was all about just taking part, and to be quite honest, a bit of an adventure for us all.
To Glasgow Green and the World Pipe Band Championships 2008, and it really is a world event. We've got 8,000 pipers and drummers from countries as diverse as Spain, Pakistan, Oman, New Zealand, the United States, and at the end of the day, one band will be crowned world champions. The big story of this championship has been the entry into the Grade 1 competition of the Spirit of Scotland Pipe Band. Now, Spirit of Scotland are a collection of elite pipers who've never been in the same room together, never mind played as a band together before today. It's been an audacious move. I think it's fair to say it's rocked the piping fraternity. What's the view?
Well, obviously there's anxiety in the piping world and the part of the bands who are trying to qualify, that they're challenging. But that aside, they've been putting great music together. Roddy McLeod and Craig Calhoun and John Fisher have put together an amazing musical effort, and I'm really looking forward to what they're producing here today.
This band is a truly international pipe band. I mean, it's cherry-picked the very best players from all over the world.
Almost every single person in the pipe section has won the gold medal, but that doesn't mean anything. Winning the gold medal for solo playing and playing as a unit, as a pipe section where you all have to play as one, is two completely different things.
They have great players. Roddy McLeod, the pipe major, is one of the world's greatest pipers. That's not to say that they're going to win or even make it to the final, because it's tough to make it to the final.
It's difficult for the other bands because the other bands are practicing 12 months a year and this band's practicing a week a year, and it's going to be probably better than most of those bands. So if there is people that are upset, I can see that side of it.
Well, if they really, really do well, we're going to have like a pipe band anarchy. All existing pipe bands, you know, saying, oh, I'm not going to come to practice. We only need to the week before.
If they're better, then they're better, and they deserve it. And if we're better, we deserve it, regardless of who's in it. You know, it's a band. It's the sum of all the parts together. And are we better than you on the day?
Everyone goes to the Worlds and walks around and listens to the bands and wishes they were taking part in it and involved in a band, but the other 364 days of the year they just don't have time. So Roddy had this idea we just get the band together for the day.
So the conversation just developed from that, and said, wouldn't it be great to get a lot of guys who are really good pipers and maybe could be dependable and independent and talented enough to practice on their own and come together for the Worlds in a short space of time.
it's such a different approach to the way pipe bands have always worked together for such a long time. I never really thought it would come together, that people would all connect, people would fly all over the world to it.
It started off, I think, as a bit of fun and then became suddenly very serious.
And each day there was someone else coming in, all the top players, and I thought, oh yeah, sounds good. So here I am.
We still have fellows who learn the material who are still coming in, and at this point I'm still not even sure who's playing with the band.
It's the type of thing that can be talked about forever, but unless one person takes the whole thing by the scruff of the neck and actually brings it into reality, of course that person's Roddy McLeod. He was the one that said, right, let's do this.
Second jig, come in after 2, okay? So put your drums up just now. Let's do it together. We're playing the start of the second jig after 2.
To get 23 pipers to play all in one way is very, very challenging.
Quite a tough thing to do, bring a group of solo players together and try and make them play as a band.
Because of the size of the band, there's quite a lot of harmonies going on, so you've really got to, try and concentrate and try and get the whole thing to knit together.
Particularly given when we've only got a week, because normally throughout the year you'd have sessions with the pipe major on a one-to-one basis when you can see personally how well or otherwise you're playing. But we've not had that opportunity here, so it's all been group playing, and you're relying on people to pick up on things within the group.
The material we're learning it's all difficult material. It's very challenging material. I worked hard at it for the past 3 or 4 months to get the material off.
You don't want to mess up, right? I mean, these guys are serious, and they know what they've got to do to play at that level. Because if there are naysayers out there, we want to prove them wrong. We want to get through the qualifier. We want to play in the final just as much as anyone.
6 days away, we're getting nervous. I'm not nervous yet. I think on the day the nerves will start to build. I think maybe the night before people will be thinking an awful lot about it. What chances to win it? I would say that would be extremely unlikely. I'm hoping that we'll qualify. I think certainly we can play well enough, and I think after that it will be about all the guys going out and just really enjoying themselves, putting on a good show.
We're aware of people saying, who do they think they are? What do they think they're going to do? What we're thinking we're going to do is try and play as well as we possibly can together. And if we manage to do well in the competition, that'll be fantastic.
We haven't got a right just to turn up and qualify. We've got to earn that right to qualify by performing well. So all we can do is try our best.
When the drummers get here, it'll change the whole dynamic of the things, and hopefully as planned it should change it for the better as well, So I think we can be optimistic just now.
Cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic, that's right.
Ever since I was young, people would describe it as practice, but for me it was more like fun. It was something I quite often did quite quietly and didn't tell people a lot about. And at that time it wasn't popular to play bagpipes at all in Scotland. I started to compete senior level competitions when I was about maybe 18 years old, and managed to start playing at the Glenfiddich Piping Championships when I was about 24 years old. It's a really tough competition because it's the 10 best pipers in the world that play at that competition, and everybody's won a major prize to play there. I've won that overall 3 times and been runner-up 2 times, and in the paver section I've won that 6 times, so that's a record that I'm quite pleased about as well. I mean, I've been playing pipes now for over 35 years, I think, now, and there's still lots to learn. It's more than just an instrument, it's created a whole social environment, and it's opened up lots of opportunities for me over the years. I've got the pipes to thank for meeting my wife, Margaret. Her brother was a piper, is a piper with Strathclyde Police Pipe Band,
and their cousins were all pipers as well, so that's how we actually met. Was I knew her brother and her cousins before we were through piping, and when you look at it like that, you really appreciate what it's done for you in your life.
We need name tags. It's gonna be really, really hard to remember all this, like, so many new faces.
There'll be a catch later on.
Without a drum corps, a pipe band's not a pipe band, it's just a bunch of pipers.
The interesting part is the whole ensemble, getting the drum corps together with the pipe inside, and I think that's the challenge of bringing a band like this together in a short space of time, is gelling the thing very quickly.
Pipers, we all tend to play basically the same expression, and as long as we're given the music well in advance, we can sort of core together pretty quickly. If drummers come from disparate pipe bands where they've learned different styles and then are put together with the idea that they have to learn the same beatings from one lead drummer's particular style, it's a huge challenge.
And when you're watching across the circle, the hands are opposite, right? So figure it out.
I don't think many of us have played together. There's a lot of experienced drummers there. And like the pipers, there will be different styles. I don't know how we all work together as a team.
The drummers have definitely had a bigger challenge in pulling themselves together than the pipers, which sounds strange because I guess people would think that the tasks are equal. It's the same number of tunes, the same melody, but it's all new material. It's not material that you can open a book and say, yes, so I learned that 10 years ago, so I'll just play that again. So we really kind of just a huge admiration for them stepping up to the task. Roddy by the tempos that he wants to play, he's sending MP3s of the melodies, and then I just listen to them. Try to learn the tunes quite quickly, try to get a feel for them, and then a mood for them, and then sort of an imagery of how you want to present them in a whole finished product. And in this situation, it was like dealing with these amazing pipers. So the first thing was to find something that was going to stay out of the way of them and not cause any trouble, and try to get underneath them and lift them up and try to not have any conflict or problems with phrasing, some user-friendly kind of thing, to keep it fairly simple enough, I guess, and not too sophisticated. Because of the time limit we'll have when we get there also. So I've been writing all over, basically writing all the time, hearing things and then jot it down, The hard part is deciding on something too, because you could do like 100 different possibilities for one note. You can get bogged down in one note, and the dynamic of one note, and the articulation of one note. And meanwhile, you're on like a half a beat for 2 months. That's tricky for me. And then finally, are they going to like it? Do they understand it? Did you hear the finish button? Is it going to work? You can go a little crazy. So finally, you have to say, okay, this is it. You have to let go of it and send it. When it's played well, like any other music, there's a fire to it. There's an energy to it, an intensity to it. When I was 8 or 9, of course it was the Beatles, and Ed Sullivan, and that started the whole drum set thing. And then at the same time, I got involved in the pipe band. I was fascinated by the uniforms and by the bands and the parades and all that. So I was doing both at the same time. And I took time off in the drum set to really pursue the pipe band thing in the mid-70s. Then finally went back, realizing I had to make a career out of this, so pursued the drum set thing a bit more. And now I find myself back in the pipe band. I worked with the White Spot Pipe Band from Vancouver. They're a grade 4 band. They've been the champion supreme here of the grade 4 for the last about 4 or 5 years. They've done really, really well.
Are you emphasizing the down or the...
Yeah, I'm doing a little bit of a downstroke. You don't have to, but so I teach primarily drum set, studio drumming primarily, and so it encompasses jazz and country and rock and hip hop and blues and Latin. I teach a lot of professional players. I'd sort of like to become a bit of a technique guy that helps a lot of guys that might have hand issues, or guys that just might be wanting to get their technique better, or might have carpal tunnel syndrome, or might have tendonitis, or some kinds of problems in their posture.
John brings a different level to the drumming.
Well, we're guaranteeing our quality through people doing lots of homework.
It's not a normal situation, that's for sure. It just puts demands on everybody's skills to really rise to the occasion, and it's tough because they're trying to memorize stuff and there's a lot of pressure. So many notes again, and we're just trying to cram and make it real, make it honest, so they get to the essence of what's happening and playing some real music.
I got some of it a couple of weeks ago and some of it before that. I've been too busy to go, so I've got all this week though to learn.
Today, this is the first time that the pipes and the drums have been together. We've had practice chanters and drummers with practice pads. It's the first time we've had more or less a full band out together, and it's really good. It was just pure luck getting this space, so couldn't have asked for better. We've had 2 days in terrible environments, pure acoustics, and then the day we finally get into somewhere where we can really hear it well, so it's great. Craig Cahoon, otherwise known as Hoss, is the bass drummer. He's an absolutely wonderful bass drummer, and I think he's the only guy to ever win the World Championship Bass Drum Award something like 3 or 4 times. A tremendous teacher and just a wonderful touch on the bass drum, and his knowledge of percussion is second to none.
There will be no drumnastics or any trickery in any of the drumming. It'll all just be about creating the right texture and feel and momentum and forward motion and building a little bit of tension and releasing it once in a while. With bass drummers playing very large tenor drums and playing rhythmic, typical bass drum parts. And so I've reversed the roles a little bit. I have people that are bass drummers that have only ever played the bass drum. They haven't ever played that instrument, so it's going to be a whole new experience. But they have 4 or 5 days to get their act together. Simplicity in the composition is the key. To really let that voice come out. Really let those pipes sit out as the singer. You know, we're just drummers playing for the singer.
I think a lot of people, when they hear the bagpipes, they don't realize that there is this upper level of professionalism. These guys are great musicians. They're just as great as any solo violin player or opera singer or piano player or anything, you know. They're just as good, and they put just as much time and just as much effort into it. Actually, we were standing around the circle today, and I was talking with Jim McGilvery, and he said, if you're wondering about a piece of execution, you just have to listen, and you can hear it. I mean, it's crystal clear. And I mean, and that's a pipe band of 20 or 20-some players. I haven't played in a band where you can hear everything like this, ever, and I probably never will again.
Everybody's parked their egos at the door, and reputations don't count for anything. You just come in and it's all for the band.
Because at the top of this idiom of music, the only place that you can play with the very great players is in competition. And competition happens to be one of the most amateur things that we do. When you're a professional artist, you're not worried about winning a competition.
It felt really good to have the drums in and hear what they're doing, and now it complemented the pipe tunes, and again, it feels good. I think, you know, we've still got a little bits and pieces that we're going to work on and clean up, but ensemble wise and the beatings really complement the pipe tunes, so I'm very happy with that.
bagpipes, get them going the way you want them and get the tune the way you want them takes a lot more time than any other instrument to perfect it. It's something that doesn't come in an hour or two's practice. It's years of practice.
To get yourself up to that level, I think it just purely is down to practice. I do remember myself, practicing and chanting in the morning, lunchtime and the evening, because you wanted to do it. I think that's a big thing. If not to be forced to do it, that you actually want to pick the chanter up in the evening and practice. I think that's key.
The fact of the pipes is that they are quite loud, and in an enclosed space, if you're family or somebody living next door to neighbours even, and if you live in a flat, then it does cause difficulties in terms of practicing, and you need the support of your family to get through that. And if you don't have a supportive family, then you've got problems.
Nice cut off. Good cut off. Good cut off on that.
Can you please not let Roddy hear that?
I have my best times piping in my own practice room when the pipes are going as well as I can get them going and my hands are going and I have no distractions and it's just me in the room and everything seems to come together and the pipes seem to be playing themselves. That's my best experience. And that's why, even when I don't have any commitments in the near future for performing, why I still play.
It's a passion piping, It takes a bit of energy to do it, at the top level. And I struggle, I'm up from 6 in the morning, working till 5, 6 at night. So what do? If you've got a love for piping, you try to do the best you can to get the most out of things. I've been playing the pipes from about the age of 9. The thing that has been good for me about piping is it creates a discipline, and that discipline can be used in other fields in life. So looking at a wider view there, I think piping has really given me that belief and discipline that, well, I've done that, so I can do other things.
People have always said it has to be in you. When I was younger, for the first time I heard a pipe band, I knew straight away all I wanted to do was play the bagpipes. I wanted to go down a piping career, and the place in them days to go was the army. Whether it was the Queen's Own Elders or the Scots Guards. I chose the Queen's Own Elders because there was a lot of great players in it, and it was obviously my local regiment, and to be quite honest, it's the best thing I ever did. Because basically it's my life, because I teach it, it's just what I do. It's like, I'm very lucky, it's my hobby, but I also do it as my work, so there's not many people have work as their hobby, or hobby as their work, I should say. You have to put up a lot of practice, especially at this level. I try and practice as much as I can, which means sometimes when I come home from school, I'll be practicing. Val will come home from work and cook the dinner, and I'll be practicing. And then we'll have tea and put the kids to bed. I'll go back to practicing.
That's
So,
what my almost makes.
I do a lot of practicing because I enjoy it.
But some of the practicing is just sitting with a very good conductor on it.
Learning tunes, even if I don't have to learn them, I don't, especially people.
Not actually playing or just reading using music as it goes.
Yeah.
And it kind of pops his head up every now and again to speak or look at the telly or something.
How you doing, Charlie?
The lad, yeah.
Right. I'll just put your stuff out in a bit. Get it away.
Mainly through the schools I teach, but Charles comes privately for an hour and we'll just work on different pieces.
Just what's that easier?
You can be a natural player as well as not so natural, and it comes very hard to you, where there's never been any problem at all teaching Charlie.
Okay, ready? Undecided for us, right?
There's definitely a lot of pressure put on talented young pipers to achieve. It's easy to buy into that and think that if you don't achieve the way you're expected to, then you're maybe not the person you think you should be. There's a lot of neuroticism built into all of this, you know.
I think when you're learning and progressing, you're totally fascinated by it, and the better you get, the more you seem to get into it, and you want to keep learning and trying to play better and progress and win competitions or whatever, if that's your thing. It's a practice, and the lead up can be quite tense, and it can be quite hard and stressful almost in the competition.
I think Charlie's good is already quite competitive. He gets quite cross with himself, but she shouldn't be. I can't tell because he's so young just to go and enjoy it.
Just a wee fault, but don't worry about that. Don't worry, you won't be far away.
I don't think I'll get it this time. Definitely not. Just lost my concentration. Wasn't thinking about the tune and just, dunno, just wasn't good. Let's just be real, be finished then. There'll be a wee break and then I'll go on for my jig. And hopefully that'll be a lot better.
He is only 12, but everything's there that you would wish for someone to have. Not just at 12, but at 14 and 15. So he is 2, 3, maybe even 4 years ahead of himself. But I mean, we all go in steps. So he's a few more steps to take, but I know he will definitely take them.
First prize, Charlie McDonald. An excellent tune.
From the time I was 15 years old and I started to learn Pibroch and get serious about it, people always said, oh, you're going to win the medals. You're going to win the medals. Well, I was very nice of them to say that, but I still had to do it. And when I got my first gold medal in 1985, I was 30 years old, and it was a relief, is what it was, because I was in a way told I was good enough to win that. It was kind of expected of me, and when I got it, I went, whew, thank God that's out of the way.
My mother wanted to have 2 sons, and she wanted 2 sons to be both pipers. My brother, he went down to John Mackenzie, who was quite a well-respected piping teacher down in Blaine, and I used to go along and sit in the room and wait while he had his lesson, and then it was a case of how would the young fella like to learn as well? And I went, I'll try some of that, and that was it. So I started to learn pipes probably when I was 8, probably nearly 40 years ago. Time's pressing on. I went to John Mackenzie for lessons as well for 28 years before he died. He was a character and taught me a lot, not just about piping, but about life and how to conduct yourself. And to be quite honest, I could never see myself going to anybody else for lessons after that. It was unfortunate because I won the gold medal in Inverness a few months after he died, so it would have been really, really nice if obviously he'd been there to see me winning it, but that's just life. And really, when he died, that sort of piping career, I decided enough was enough, and I really sort of stopped shortly thereafter in terms of solo competitions. I'm a police officer with Strathclyde Police, got 25 years service. I'm currently Chief Inspector. And working on the security planning for the Commonwealth Games, which is coming to Glasgow in 2014. First and foremost, I saw it as a good career opportunity, and it had the additional benefit of having an excellent pipe band, which I could also be part of. I met Robert Crozier, and we were introducing each other, and I said, "Oh, pleased to meet you." And he says, "Oh, we've met already." I said, how have we met already? He said, "We met in 1988. I went to Strathclyde Police pipe band practice." He says, "And I met you." days we were the band to beat. We enjoyed some incredible success. We managed to win the championship on 5 occasions, and it's amazing that Robert holds it in such high esteem. He can even tell us the tunes that we played back in those days, and I can't even remember one of them. Now you're looking back, you start to realise I was part of something quite special in those days. I've done things and been places and seen things that are really, really great, and the fact that I've managed to combine that over the last 25 years with a career in the police has been absolutely superb.
It's nice to get outside today though and get a proper reading of the sound, you know. Tuning a bagpipe is incredibly complicated on its own, just for one pipe.
Probably would have to be the hardest instrument in the world to tune. It's difficult, unique. There's that many things involved in it.
You have to keep 4 reeds in tune, all different octaves apart, and you're not directly in contact with any one of these reeds. And all of the air that's reaching the reeds is passing through the bag that you're blowing into, and you're putting moisture from your breath, and the whole environment that you're in, the temperature, everything affects these reeds. So that's just for one piper. In our band we've got 23 pipers, and the goal is to make the 23 pipers sound like one piper.
Tuning up on a nice day, say today, and on the day when we're competing it's going to be cold, that can have a bit of an effect on the sound. So we're hoping for consistent weather from now till the Worlds.
Forecast for today was terrible.
But what's it for Saturday?
Quite good.
Is it? Well,
I think one of the great appeals of any kind of bagpipe is the drone sound. I think people find the drone sound of the bagpipe very soothing and hypnotic. We only have 9 notes in the chanter, and we don't have nearly the range of most orchestral instruments. But behind that chanter sound is a wall of sound that just brings a richness and a tonal variety to the chanter sound that is very appealing to people. The music is also very simple. A piper will tell you it's very difficult because it has a lot of technique and grace noting that is very difficult, but the music itself is rhythmically based. If I'm playing for a room full of people, I want to look around the room and see people tapping their foot. If people aren't tapping their foot, I'm not doing my job. So the combination of that rich, hypnotic sound and the appealing rhythm of the reels and the jigs and the marches, I think that's what draws people in.
I've been playing since I was 9 years old, and it does become part of your life.
When Ewan was about 5, 6, we were visiting my parents down in the south of the island, and we found a tractor belonging to my father, and for some reason he just was fascinated by it, and he was desperate for her to play it.
The music's always been around the family, so it was quite natural to pick up the chanter and to start playing it. And obviously the McCrimmon name, but there's always been a link there. The McCrimmons were the pipers to the Clan MacLeod and had a piping school in Borderig in the far north west corner of Skye. And all the various clan chiefs around the Highlands sent the clan pipers to be taught there.
As you saw, Narcissus, Trevor Scott, Feedback van der Krimmen en de Boyrek, zijn Jelenskiana, Schofer about Allernisch, Feedback chain, wat Moren Bleerliken, wat de show van me aan de Schiavli, Lien Kirk, because Tasha, Putsi Tasha van de Lien Kirk, agus wat de chain for Chimor, agus fan Otterford aan de hel. We get na hoogren, peigers on each in the show, agus wat in checkers, like Clan MacCrimmon, Kirach as a holiday, a show. He's in the public in Chimigalon, agus Shoffer Road.
If you have a tune up at the cairn there, it's a very special place. So much of piping history and tradition that is dropped up.
We certainly enjoy listening to the playing and we listen to competing, sometimes listening and hearing, making a real fool of things, other times making a really beautiful job of it, because he can.
The whole family's been very supportive, it's been great, and I think we need that. The amount of commitment that from myself and other guys in the band have to put in the solo piping, it's years of intense practice, it's great to have the commitment of a family behind you.
Just try and hang a wee bit on the D before it. And short ways in between the E's, really bring out the
Coming a good piper means perfecting the fingering technique. So that is really highly developed and has to be very, very precise in order to get to the top level. You can't start and stop the sound of instruments, a continuous sound. So how pipers get around that is punctuating the music with technique. So that helps create a dynamic effect.
Because the hand and the sound when they're quite compact.
I hear that.
Some of them are struggling to keep up.
I hear it, yeah.
So
I understand. It's tough, like I can hear them sort of having a different interpretation of the rhythm too a little bit. Right, so with them, they're getting a little more, not quite as rounded. So I listen to it, see.
You can't play rolls with the slow air here. Can you hear it? You can't play a roll on a drum there. You gotta play them wide open, and even if you have to play them slower, you gotta get the notes out.
Well, Martin Carroll was having pain in his hip and it makes things very uncomfortable for him drumming and carrying the drum and so on. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that he feels better and that they're doing lessons, but he is struggling a bit.
I feel bad. We haven't hardly had a chance to talk really. It's like we sat down and just put the music out, and before I even knew we started playing. That's what it's been like. It's been pretty intense. I'm not sure what'll happen tomorrow.
at the moment it's 3 days away. This is Wednesday. Saturday's coming fast. I think we've covered quite a lot today. We've hammered out a lot of playing issues. There's always wee bits that can be better.
was at one piping school, and there were some other players from other bands that are also playing to qualify too, and they were sort of, oh yeah, well you guys are going to make it automatically, and you're going to take the place of a band that's worked hard all year long and all that. And I thought, well, no, I mean not necessarily. I mean you have to, on the day you have to prove whether you're going to go through or not.
We are the underdogs on Saturday, and I think one big achievement would be if we played well in the qualifier and hopefully did well enough to get to the final. That would be number one. There's a buzz you get when you're competing and you're challenging yourself, and I think it applies to the band as well. You try to be as good as you can be.
Willie is the pipe sergeant of the band, and he is an absolute rock as a piper, but as a person and a friend. Willie and I have been friends through piping and outside of piping for over 25 years. We're very close friends, and through piping we've gone lots of places together, taken part in lots of competitions, and that kind of thing gives you a very strong bond.
I enjoy the camaraderie amongst the players, and I think that's really important. If that wasn't there, it might not just be as much fun.
Guys, some of you might have missed that in the chanter practice we took out half doublings in that part. So no half doublings. If you spot anyone doing a half doubling in E, I want their name. Alright, we'll try it from the beginning again. Alright. Is that alright?
Sure.
That's good. What I said.
Just expect it the same every time, that's all.
Give me a metronome then. Somebody buy me a metronome. So it's...
Don't tap your foot. Don't tap your foot.
The biggest sacrifice is time. You have to make the best of the time you have to prepare, because there are other competing demands. The job is full time, but more important, the family time. I've got two children and a very, very encouraging and patient wife. If you don't have that encouragement and that backing and that faith alone, then it's not going to work.
Piping has been my whole life. My father taught me. I didn't really have much option in the matter. When I was 5, he tried to start me, and my fingers couldn't reach the holes on the chanter, so he put corks in here for an hour a night, and he didn't believe in small chanters. It didn't work, and I took the 4-year sabbatical until I was 9, and then we started in earnest from there. At the time we lived in Glasgow, and I quickly joined the 44th Glasgow Company Boys Brigade pipe band, and I also went along to my father's pipe band. He was a pipe major of the 1st Battalion, 52nd Lowland Volunteers, and then we moved up to the Highlands in Scotland. We started going round games, and we had just that great bonding experience. It wasn't easy at times, being taught by your father. He had high expectations. I never wanted to let him down, but at times tension did get... some of the things we did together just made up for all those bad times. We ended up teaching in America together, and we had a blast wherever we went. Learning from him really did put a stamp on my music, because that has to be passed down, and I want to pass it down to my son. That's the way it was done way back in the day, and that's the way the tradition moves on. I was a military piper in the Queensland Highlanders and the Highlanders. Towards the end of my career with the army, I got a call and asked if I would like to come to Pittsburgh to teach at the Carnegie Mellon University, which I didn't have to think too hard about, and I moved over in 1997. I teach the bagpipes there. We have a bagpipe band, and we also have a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in bagpipe and performance. Coming here and seeing how keen people are to learn, it's great. I teach at the Master of Scottish Arts Winter School in Seabeck, where all the performers teach.
Okay, good.
We've been coming here for 12 years.
Students from all over come to learn from us. We have a blast. You travel the country and you meet all kinds of different people and just spread the music.
That's what I'm here to do, and I love doing it. I do summer schools, about 7, 8 schools in the summer, and over in America, it's amazing. I mean, I've had people in my classes 72, 74 years old, and they just want to play the instrument. In Scotland, if you don't learn it as a kid, you're not going to learn it at all.
We've got a small croft at home, we've got some cows. It's a complete break away from piping and get out into the rain and clear your mind. I just think the whole scenery around the Oban area, the Gelshire area, it's really nice countryside. I really enjoy the outdoors and really appreciate the place where we live. Probably the earliest memory would just be from my father playing. He didn't play too often, only if he'd been asked to go and play at something he would get the pipes out. So I was either 9 or 10 when my father took me to the first junior competition. So I remember it was in under 15s and I got 4th in the march that day. When I was 8 or 9 I joined the Oban band. My father was in the band as well, and I went to everything for, it must have been about 15-20 years, and I really enjoyed it. But I was getting really busy with the solo competitions and just playing everywhere, solo recitals and stuff, and it just came impossible to do everything.
Alright, do it again then. Right. Okay, right now for what?
I just started the wee band up in the high school in Oban, so really busy with the schools, with the band, and teaching privately at nights as well. And I'm playing a Skipnish Ceilidh House 5 nights a week, so that's been good fun too. Not only piping, but then a bit of drumming as well, playing with a dance band. It used to be a restaurant that had a Scottish show going along. You could bring the family in for meals, but now it's just purely music and ceilidh dancing and just everybody having a good time.
We all have different approaches of the first left-hand note dynamic and different approaches of the right-hand dynamic and the timing. So it's 1 E, 1 E.
Starting to come together now. And we're still tweaking things here and there, trying to do a little change here and there too, so we still got some work to do this Thursday.
Kurt's got a recorder. You think he's working for a different recorder the Big Pipes of Solar once was? Yeah. Is it possible? Kurt's got his micro cassette here. If you guys could play the air one more time.
Yeah,
and then tonight we're gonna go to town on it and get something simple and good. Something give you a little more something. So somebody else be playing. Every note has a meaning and a purpose, and it's so important.
You got this, right?
Just to sort of hear the shape, the landscape of the dynamics, and the background weights, the forte weights, and all the in-between weights, and all the musical stuff that maybe we're just, again, trying to memorize scores and just keep it together and stay in time and play unison. Sometimes it might get a little flat sounding, you know. So the most important thing to me at the end of the day is to try to get a swing and get some emotion into it.
1 and 2.
Two really good students of mine came along with the hope of trying to be part of the band, but because we're playing in 2 days, I start seeing what we're going to bring on the field and hear what's going to happen, so I can make a decision. So we're probably not going to play, but it's okay because they're learning, and I think it's a great experience whether you're playing or not, you know.
Ready? Fire! Good. Mark.
I'm in a lot of pain, I'm afraid. Problem in my head. I'm trying to play through the pain, but then I just can't stand there long enough. Really in pain.
Mark was a very, very good drummer. He's got a lot of grade 1 experience. I'm sure like all of us, he desperately wants to play and take part. And it would be a shame if he doesn't manage to do that on Saturday. But I'm sure he'll do the right thing for himself and for the band as well.
somebody asked me, he says, what hobbies do you have? And I had to think, I don't really do any hobbies, it seems to be piping. Well, I started playing pipes when I was 8 years old, and I was taught by a DJ called Norman MacLeod from the Royal British Legion Band in Druid, and probably at the age of 12 I started competing solo, and that's really, where I've got the experience from is through competitions over the years and what I've gained obviously in the British Army. I always wanted to join the Army Force from the age of 13. I was influenced by Pipe Major Lance MacDonald, who was the senior pipe major at the time, very famous piper. All pipers and drummers in the Army are soldiers as well as musicians. Throughout my career I did different roles. I've been in machine gun platoon, I've been in SOC pioneer platoon. Leadership is obviously a big thing in the military, and it's quite interesting because you get to know your individuals, in the band, who's your good pipers, who's your good drummers musically, and you also get to find out who's your good soldiers. So I was awarded the MBE, the Queen's Birthday Honours List. I've been awarded this because of my distinguished service in the Army and the contribution to piping in the Army. The Emblem of the tattoo, I've been involved as a performer. I think the first tattoo I done was in 1979 as a boy soldier, and I've been in various tattoos throughout my career. Several occasions I've done Lone Piper, which is a really great privilege. I think everybody wants to say that they've done Lone Piper and stand up in the ramparts.
Far above the lights of the city, Captain Stuart Sampson, the Highlanders, director of Army Bagpipe Music, plays his own composition, Lest We Forget.
When you're getting near the end of the show, everybody then puts your attention up to the ramparts where the Lone Piper then plays a lament. It's like Lights Out, which would symbolise lights out in the regiment. And it's quite emotional, not just for the person playing it, but I think the audience feels it quite emotional as well.
Expected it to be as good as this after the time I've had. I was hopeful we would have a very good grade 1 band, but I guess this has exceeded my expectations a little bit.
When I first did that break into the reels, he played a roll into the zat-zat, and it was really good. And then he took it out, and I was still leaving the space, and there was no roll in there, and then it was like, now what? So, yeah, I think it sets it up nicely.
How you doing?
Good, yeah. I've got about a litre of ibuprofen gel on and all kinds of medicine. I'm all drugged up, so not too bad.
Guys, can we do the reels to the end again? Still a wee feeling of the pipers accelerating a wee bit when they get into the third part, and just try and keep it relaxed and calm. Alright? Do that again, maybe Clan McRae, and then that'll do me. Not everybody's changed their cords on their pipes yet. Could you make sure you do that? Don't leave it till tomorrow. Don't have time tomorrow morning. Because tomorrow when we get off the bus, we might have to use all the time we've got to get the sound and everything that we want to go on with. Can't afford to be waiting on guys messing about the pipes, okay? The other thing, tomorrow, you need to have pretty much full-on concentration, I would say. Like even out there at the street cafe, I'm trying to sort of command people's attention a wee bit, and people are looking about and waving and seeing friends. Multiply that by 10 tomorrow, and then you multiply my problems by 10 in terms of trying to focus the band and get us ready for the time. Okay, tonight, get to your bed, get a good sleep, a good sober sleep, I would say.
Why the long faces?
Listen guys, just sincerely thanks to everybody for everything you've done this week. It's been a great achievement to get this far, and it's been a huge commitment to get this far from everybody, so I think we'll do fine tomorrow. I'm sure we'll be fine. Regardless of what happens, the fact that we're a grade 1 band playing at the standard with that is a success in itself, isn't it? You know, so we'll just go out and enjoy ourselves tomorrow.
Right on.
Well done.
Guys are excited about being able to compete. A little bit nervous, but I think that the overriding feeling is a sense of anticipation and enjoyment.
Is where 14 of the elite bands will compete for this marvellous trophy and the title World Champions 2008. Let's get those bands up and running. The first round coming out, the March, Strathspey and Reel.
MSR is the March, Strathspey and Reel. It's 3 different kinds of tune joined on together. So it's a bit like the compulsories in figure skating. You really have to go through the required format and tunes before getting into the medley section, where you can be more creative and play different types of arrangements and so on. The March would be a 2/4 simple time tune, and Strathspeys and Reels are dance tunes with very different types of rhythm, so we join them all together to give a varied selection of pipe music. The period leading up to the band going on to the competition field is very intense for the tuning. You have to get it right, and so we have a rotational method where each time the band went to Bob Crozier to get a very quick check that their chanter was bang on in tune. But if there was an adjustment needed to the chanter, it would be a case of just using a little bit of tape to cover the top of the hole if it's sharp, or alternatively just moving the reed in the chanter a little bit. But at that point in time, really the adjustments are minimal, and all the time we had 2 guys going around tuning the drones, so it's a very difficult task because there's so many factors that can affect the sound.
Pause.
Yeah.
them up as a band, quickly guys, come on. You've 10 minutes going that way, and Willie, don't go too far forward. Try and, because these guys will follow you and they're getting spread out. So if you and me keep quite close in, so that we're closer.
Okay? Are you okay? Good job.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome our next band to the line, the Spiritual Problem. They live in the night and they were the Irish Night March.
Okay. Nice and relaxed. The tempo. Okay. Ready? Fire! Good. Stop!
And what are your hopes for this afternoon?
Well, we have to hope that we get to play in the afternoon first and foremost. So if we manage to do that, it'll be a great achievement, and we'll really enjoy that experience. But we're not going to count any chickens just now.
Okay, so if I ask you, do you think you'll make it to this afternoon?
I really don't know if we'll make it to the afternoon. I would hope so. The strength of that performance, I think we've got a very good chance. Please read it.
In the context of a week's preparation for the whole, I think it went really well. It wasn't the best run that we've had in the last day or two, but it was good. I think we can all be proud of ourselves. Who knows? We'll wait and see. Fingers crossed.
It's quite nerve-wracking, but it sounded good, and I think we're all kind of happy with that. So yeah, it was good fun.
One of the great things for me is that I remember coming to Glasgow to competitions when these fellas were this side, and here they're bigger than me now, standing competing in the biggest arena of all. So it's wonderful, great.
You're gonna get me going. Actually, now that I see you fine, I'm okay. So I was like, follow the golf ball. Follow the golf ball. Imagine. I started her when she was how old? And here she is playing in Glasgow.
Quite a bit of time to pass before we find out if we qualify or not. So what we decided to do is go and have some breakfast with the mobile phones at the ready, so we can receive the news from our secretary Leslie, who's going to phone us as soon as she hears if we've qualified for the final or not. So we will be biting our fingernails waiting on that call.
No, not yet. Still waiting.
Hi, Roddy. No, nothing yet.
Is anybody sort of giving you any ideas about the bands that might qualify, or have you heard anything? Right, this is the most disappointing phone call today.
That's good though, that's disappointing.
Alright, cheers. if the music's bad, well, good news for this place.
Qualifiers for the Grade 1 Championship, starting with the March Strathspey relay at Glasgow Green. First band, Fife Constabulary.
Maybe do a phone call.
Number 2, St. Lawrence Reserve from Dublin.
Hello? Good, who's that? Right, Alberto. I thought it was Leslie. You need to go off the phone.
Number 3, the Spirit of Scotland. Number 4.
Here it is. Hello, Leslie, how you doing? Yes!
Well, we're just about to head into the medley round. Bob, remind us how the medley differs from the discipline of the March Strathspey and Reel.
Well, they have 5 to 7 minutes to perform a wide variety of music, so you're going to hear much more diversity, much more creativity, sophistication in arrangements, harmonies, you name it, lots of music this afternoon.
Sounds good. Let's head back into that Grade 1 ring.
Yeah. You alright? I wasn't comfortable with the Strathspey, so I backed out. Had to do what's best for the band.
Oh, it's alright. Doesn't matter. He's the lead drummer of one of the best Grade 2 drum corps in North America. And he had the North American Championships a week ago. He learned the stuff on the airplane ride over here.
Yeah.
He had the music sheets open on the food table in his seat in the airplane, so he had the shortest window of time with the material to be confident enough to be able to support, you know?
I'm happy with what we did, so it was a lot of fun, which is the main thing. Cheers.
Those are really mature guys that can make those kinds of decisions for themselves. Yeah, so it wasn't, nobody was cut, they cut themselves, which is the way it should be. They should know, right?
I think when you're playing in one of these competitions, you almost have to get yourself into a different mental zone almost in a way, and you have to give 100% focus to what you're doing.
And our next band coming to the line for the Mendy selection, please welcome the Spirit of Scotland.
Remember, we can relax and enjoy this. We've won everything we came here to win today already. Ready? Fire! Quick! March! And your appreciation once again for the first responders. Absolute blast out of it, and surpassed all expectations, even our own expectations. It's been an adventure, journey, great fun, loved it, every minute of it.